couple more and then we'll...
Yes, I'm Dick Layton from Rockford, Illinois. This is the first annual meeting that I've attended, and it's been very beneficial to me. I've been extremely impressed with the number of people here, but even more so with the number of young people who have come. And I would like very much to be able to bring my grandchildren as shareholders, but I find it difficult to get shares into their hands with the current per unit value.
That's the nicest introduction to the stock split question we've had. It really is, too.
I thought you would appreciate that. Obviously, you understand the question. I understand the position you've taken over the years and the fact that it adds no value to make the split. In this case, however, it could be a tax savings to many of us who would like to get stock shares into the hands of other family members. Should I just go to work on my congressman to change the tax code, or would you consider a change?
Well, that's a very valid question, and there's certainly a couple of areas, one of which you've just mentioned, and I had someone else mention to me that they had their Berkshire in an IRA account, and now they were getting into the mandatory payout arrangement, and it didn't work well in terms of using the Berkshire, although I think they could sell it and then pay out a percentage of it. But there are certain aspects, primarily of gifting, where it is anywhere from awkward to disadvantageous to have the price per share on a stock that exists with Berkshire. And you know, we're aware of it. We've thought about it, and we've got our own personal situations even sometimes that are involved in that. I've got one in the family that which we've figured out ways around. The disadvantage, of course, is that you saw a little even earlier this year of what a book can do. Or we want to attract shareholders who are as investment oriented as we can possibly obtain with as long-term horizons. And to some extent, the publicity about me is negative in that respect, because I know that if we had something that it was a lot easier for anybody with $500 to buy, that we would get an awful lot of people buying it who didn't have the faintest idea what they were doing, but heard the name bandied around in some way. And secondly, to the extent that ever created a market that was stronger, you then would have people buying it simply because it was going up. We got a little bit of that going on this year. There are a lot of people that are attracted to stocks that are going up. It doesn't attract us, but it attracts the rest of the world to some degree. So we are almost certain that we would get. We don't know the degree to which it would happen. We are almost certain we would get a shareholder base that would not have the level of sophistication and the synchronization of objectives with us that we have now. That is almost a cinch. And what we really don't need in Berkshire stock is more demand. I mean, that is not. We don't care to have it sell higher except as intrinsic value grows. Ideally, we would have the stock price exactly parallel the change in intrinsic value over time, because then everybody would be treated fairly among our shareholders. They would all gain just or lose as the company gained or lost over their ownership period. And anything that artificially stimulated the price in one period simply means that some other period shareholders are going to be disappointed. I mean, we don't want the stock to sell at twice intrinsic value or 50% above intrinsic value. We want the intrinsic value to grow a lot. But and I don't think there's any question but that we would get a worse result in that aspect if we introduce splits in, because then people would think about other possibilities that might give the stock a temporary boost. They had a tabulation in Business Week a couple of months ago on turnover on the exchange. We were at 3%, and I don't think anybody that I saw on the list was under double digits and bigger numbers. Well, those are people that are simply, they're shareholders leaving frequently and new shareholders coming in with shorter term anticipations. We have wanted this to be as much like a private partnership as we can have, with everybody having the ability to buy it. We don't think the minimum investment is to hide in this investment world. I mean, there are all kinds of investment opportunities that are limited to 25,000 or 50,000 and that sort of thing. But the problem of making change, in terms of gifts, that I wish I had a better answer for, because I think that is
my grandchildren pay me the difference between $20,000 and the current price, and I think that's a very reasonable way for them to behave, particularly when they are sometimes they're only 6 weeks old.
Yeah. You need a spouse's consent to make it to work with 20, obviously, but most of the things can be solved, but I'll admit it isn't as easy to solve as if we just had a stock denominated in lower dollars per share. I do think that once you get a shareholder base that has different objectives or expectations or anything, you can't get rid of it. I mean, you can keep a shareholder base like Berkshire, but you can't reconstruct it if you destroy it in some way. And it's important to us who we're in with. I mean, it enables us to I think it helps us in our operation. I think it even may, in some cases, it may even help us in acquisitions in terms of who we attract. For all I know, it may hurt us someplace too that I don't know about. But I don't think so, because I think we can design, particularly with a preferred stock, we can design something to satisfy somebody who might have in mind a different denomination security.
Look around you. Are we really likely to do a lot better? This is a good bunch.
That may be a good question to end on, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you coming, and we'll see you next year. Thank you. We have a whole box there.